You wake up to bells, not one bell, dozens from every direction, rolling across the rooftops as the churches of the greatest Christian city on earth call the morning. Beneath the bells, gulls. Beneath the gulls, water. You are never far from the sea here. It is just before dawn, and the light coming through your window is the pale gold of a city built on the edge of two seas. It is the year 1200, and you have woken up in Constantinople, the richest, largest, best defended city in the entire Christian world. 500,000 people live around you. That is more than London, Paris, and Rome combined, several times over. This city has running water, public hospitals, street lighting on its main avenue, a written law code, and a bureaucracy so sophisticated that its name for a mid-level official will still be an insult 1,000 years later. Behind you stand walls that no enemy army has broken through in 800 years. And rising over everything is a dome that people travel across the world just to stand beneath, because they say it looks like it is hanging from heaven on a golden chain. You have 4 years. In 1204, this city will fall, not to the enemy everyone fears, but to fellow Christians. You cannot know that. Today, Constantinople is invincible and eternal and yours. Step outside. The city is a triangle, and 2 of its 3 sides are water. To the south, the Sea of Marmara. To the north, a deep sheltered harbor called the Golden Horn, so full of ships that the masts look like a burned forest. And across the water, the third side, the great land walls. 3 lines of them, a moat, towers without end. The most formidable fortification the medieval world will ever build. This is why the city has survived while empires rose and fell around it. You can be besieged here and still throw a festival. Down at the harbor, the whole world is unloading. Timber and furs from the land of the Rus, far to the north. Spices that started their journey in India. Venetian and Genoese merchants arguing over cargo in their own quarters of the city. Enslaved people, sadly, among the goods. Grain, wine, oil, and everywhere, in every warehouse, the thing this city is famous for. Silk. Look at the people around you. Greeks mostly, who do not call themselves Greeks or Byzantines. They call themselves Romans, because that is what they are. This is the Roman Empire. It never actually fell in the east. The city you are standing in has been the capital of Rome for nearly 900 years, speaking Greek, worshiping Christ, and still calling its emperor by the title of Caesar. Now wind the thing everyone comes to see. Follow the crowds uphill. Hagia Sophia, the Church of Holy Wisdom. It has stood for over 600 years already, and nothing else on earth is close to it. From outside, it is huge and strange, a mountain of domes and buttresses. But nothing prepares you for the inside. You step through the doors and the space just opens, upward. The main dome is so wide and so high, and it rests on a ring of windows so bright that the stone seems to lose its weight. The dome does not look supported. It looks like it is floating. 40 windows around its base pour morning light into a golden haze, and the whole interior is covered. Walls, arches, ceilings, in glass mosaic and colored marble and gold, acres of gold, catching the light and throwing it back until you cannot tell where the building ends and the shining begins. When the ambassadors of a pagan prince from Kiev came here, the story goes they went home and told him, "We did not know whether we were on earth or in heaven." That prince converted his entire people to Byzantine Christianity and shaped 1,000 years of Russian history, partly because of the light in this room. Buildings are not supposed to be able to do that. This one does. Stand in it for a moment, then come back out into the daylight, because there is a myth about this world I need to break. You have been taught probably that this was the Dark Ages, that after Rome fell, the lights went out in Europe for 1,000 years. Standing here in 1200, that idea is almost funny. The city has hospitals, real ones, with separate wards, salaried doctors, male and female physicians, and written medical texts. It has orphanages and old age homes run by the state. Beneath your feet, vast underground cisterns hold clean water on forests of marble columns. Its scholars are copying and preserving the works of ancient Greece and Rome, Plato, Aristotle, the mathematicians, the physicians, the very books that will one day ignite the Renaissance in the West. Without the patient copyists of this city, much of what we know about the ancient world simply would not exist. Constantinople is not the place where the light went out. It is the place that kept the light on, and it knows how to have fun. Near the great church is the Hippodrome, a stadium for chariot racing that holds tens of thousands, where the whole city divides into rival fan factions, the blues and the greens, who care about their teams the way people will one day care about football, sometimes to the point of riots. Emperors are made and unmade in this stadium. The races are free. The passions are not. Running water, hospitals, universities, libraries, law, and a sports rivalry that can topple a government. Some dark age. The sun is high now, and the greatest market street in Christendom is waiting. The main avenue is called the Macy, the middle street, and it runs through the heart of the city, colonnaded, lined with shops, opening into great public squares, with columns and statues looted and treasured from across the ancient world. Here is the silk. Constantinople guards the secret of silk the way a state guards a weapon, because for centuries that is exactly what it was. An industry so valuable it was controlled by imperial law, the finest purple-dyed silks reserved for the emperor himself, forbidden to everyone else on pain of punishment. Around it, spices, perfumes, worked gold and enamel and ivory, icons, books, glass. And notice how everyone pays, with a small gold coin worn smooth from 1,000 hands. This is the Byzantine, the gold coin of Constantinople. And for 700 years, it has been the most trusted currency in the world, from England to China. It barely changes in weight or purity for centuries. Merchants in distant countries who have never seen this city, who could not point to it on a map, still keep their wealth in its coin because the word of Constantinople is that good. This city is not just rich. It is where the medieval world keeps its money. You could spend the afternoon here and only see one street of it, but the light is turning gold and it is time to go home. Home is a house of stone and timber on a narrow street, and dinner is what this city on the sea eats. Bread, fish fresh from the Marmara, olives and olive oil, vegetables, cheese and wine, often spiced or sweetened with honey. Rich or poor, the food is built on the same trinity that has fed the Mediterranean for 3,000 years: grain, oil, and wine. In the corner of the room, lit by a small oil lamp, are the icons, painted images of Christ, of the Virgin, of the saints, not decorations, but presences, windows the family prays through every single day. Faith here is not something you do on Sunday. It is woven through the hours, prayers at meals, saints for every trade and trouble, the bells that wake you and the bells that send you to sleep. This is one of the most religious societies that has ever existed, and also one of the most worldly, a city of monks and merchants, relics and gold, incense and silk, all at once. After dark, someone lights the lamp a little brighter. Outside on the main avenue, there is actually street lighting, one of the only cities on earth where you can walk a lit street at night. But here at home, it is just the lamp, the icons, the family, and the sound of the sea. Night comes to Constantinople, and the city pulls itself in behind its walls. The harbor chain is raised across the mouth of the Golden Horn. The gates are shut. Watchmen walk the towers. 500,000 people sleep inside the strongest walls in the world, under the greatest dome in the world, and there is no reason on this quiet night to believe any of it will ever end. But it is 1204 that is coming. In 4 years, an army of crusaders, Western Christians, who set out to fight in the Holy Land and ran out of money, will be turned by Venetian ships and tangled politics against this city instead. And the walls that held for 800 years against every enemy will be breached. And for 3 days, fellow Christians will sack the richest city in the world, melting its bronze statues for coin, stripping the gold from Hagia Sophia, carrying its treasures back to the churches of Venice, where some of them still sit today. The empire will limp on for another 2 centuries, but Constantinople, this Constantinople, the invincible one, never truly recovers. You cannot see any of that tonight. Tonight the bells have gone quiet, the lamps are low, the sea is dark and calm against the walls, and the city that kept Rome alive for 1,000 years is simply, peacefully asleep. And you were there for one ordinary day of it, near the very end of the Golden Age, and not knowing it the way we never do. Next week we wake up somewhere else. Tell me in the comments, did you know the Roman Empire lasted until 1453, 1,000 years after Rome fell? And which world should we open our eyes in next? I read everyone. Sleep well behind the great walls. Tonight they still hold.